Hello, everyone, and welcome to Play Dicely After Party. My name is Christy Clow, and this is the talkback show where myself, my wonderful castmates, and the incredible DM of our adventures discuss the most recent episodes of Play Dicely, our D&D actual play show that lives here on Twitch. Wow, I can't read. Airs live here on Twitch every other Sunday at 6 p.m., with the next episode being this coming Sunday, November 6th. Before we dive in, I just want to give a shout out to Tim from Tabletop Audio for the music that will be added to the VOD that you'll be hearing if you're now watching this on YouTube in the future. Anywho, this episode we are discussing 2 episodes, thankfully not 3, because that would go on for a long time, as we've discovered. It's episodes 36 and 37, which are Almost Home and Love Unending. Let us begin.
I forgot we named these episodes so well.
I know, they're so. When I read it too, I was like, oh, I forgot they're so nice and cute. Yeah, this episode began with us teleporting truly so far into from new Fugleby to new Fugleby. Good use of a teleportation spell.
Went a good 100 feet.
Probably more than that. I feel like it was like a 15-minute walk away.
Yeah, it was like a 15 to half-hour walk, so you got a good distance.
Okay, a few kilometers then. That's good.
But within the same municipality.
But yeah, so we landed in the Dreamscape Flower Gardens, and then we reported Cadway's bullshittery to Q, and then we also wrote a letter to Shandy Tarzette to report it. And then we also, good lord, we had a lot of communication. We also used the Sending Stone to tell the Learned Circle about everything that happened, which she did. We also was Aletha Quillanthry.
Altea.
Wow, God, my brain is not working tonight.
Yeah, welcome back from vacation.
I'm doing really well. Anyways, the Learned Circle didn't seem to give a fuck about what's going on because they didn't know about it. So that was like a really good use of the Sending Stone. And we accomplished a lot, and then we moved on. So we then decided, hey, we just went through like a really intense fight. Let's go shopping. So we went to town. We commissioned a lot of weaponry for Abe. Abe always coming in hot with some like cool weapon ideas that blow my mind every time, because I'm like, well, I never really thought of anything like that. What did you get? You got chains and...
Yeah, I got the stuff to basically make an arming chain for my great axe, and a loop to make it easier to turn my javelins into a harpoon.
Love
Since
that.
that's been coming up a lot.
Wow. I'm excited to see it in action.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can we address the Captain Hook in the room?
Yeah, I missed the Halloween episode. So I dressed up today because November 6th is too far.
I just
Can't
thought
dress
this
up.
was your new aesthetic. You were just gonna look like this all the time.
This would be so warm.
I think it's
Winter's
just
coming.
Into winter.
Yeah. I think it's just a thing on this show that every once in a while someone will just show up dressed like a pirate, because that's what Jesse did to us too. So.
That's true.
It does just kind of happen, you know? Maybe we had 2 pirates last time too.
Well,
Like, D&D brings in all sorts.
so true. A lot of
Just pirates.
Just not all sorts, just pirates.
All sorts
So
of
many
pirates.
pirates.
I love that. Yeah. Then we headed over to Hester Digitation, the magical prank shop that was so extremely fun. We met the gnomish, right? The gnomish owner of the establishment, and he sold us literally everything he had, pretty much, except for a couple items that were like really expensive, but we bought out a lot of his stuff. Which I think is so funny. Like, if you think about it in terms of like actually like how the like chronologically things went, it's like we just had like this like life-shattering like end of battle, and we're like, well, let's go buy a whoopee cushion.
Yeah, I was struggling through that for that same reason. I was like, what are we doing here? I'm feeling things.
I was at 1 HP through most of that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Could we not have done this tomorrow?
Like a whoopee cushion falls off a shelf, hits Azari in the head, and they're out cold.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was so funny to me because like I kind of was like privy to that and I wasn't planning on going shopping, but then like it kind of just happened and I was like, well, I wanted to go, so I might as well go. Anywho, during this time, Azaria received a sending from Charity Cozybug asking where we're staying in New Fugleby. Interesting. And then we head back to said place, the Miner's Arms Inn. And then Elowen drops a huge bomb on us that she's been carrying around for quite a few episodes. So you had learned from Archdruid Shishumi? Say it?
Shusumi.
Shishumi, damn it.
No, I didn't say that either.
That the stranger and the void are interconnected, and that the Archdruids would likely only be able to save or cure one of them. We spoke at length about the connection between the void and the stranger, and Drac kind of mentioned that, or offered an opinion that maybe the void is not something that can be destroyed because maybe it's a universal force. And then Gideon was wondering about if the same holds true for the stranger. Do we have any theories after this conversation about how it all connects?
I have a theory, but I'll bring it up in the later episode.
Oh, I also have theories to talk about in the later episode.
Oh god, okay.
I know yours though.
Fascinating. All right. Remind me about that later because I'll definitely forget.
I will try to remember.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case...
No, I need to know if Logan was as fucked up by that revelation as I was, because that truly destroyed me in a massive way when I learned that.
I feel like I wasn't as destroyed as you then, but I was like, oh fuck, what are we gonna do? Like,
so I was looking at this, so it was 12 in-game days and 6 real-life months that have passed since I've learned this, and I don't think I've had a shower in that time that I haven't stared at the wall and just been like, what the fuck am I gonna do? What are we gonna do about this?
We'll figure it out.
I have been extremely stressed for a long time about this, and I'm just really glad that we can talk about it now.
Yeah, how did it feel to get that out there?
So good. Oh my god. At first, like when we first did episode 25, we learned this, and it wasn't until 36 that it came to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the first couple months after I learned it, I was like, I don't know if I will tell them. It'll be fun. But then it really just got to a point where I was like, I actually have a lot of theories and a lot of questions, and I would love to talk to somebody about this. And I really just feel like I can't. And so then it was trying to figure out how I could get Elowen on board to telling people.
So was there a specific reason why you chose to share it at this specific time?
I have truly been trying to do it for like the last 3 or 4 episodes straight. I've been trying to figure out how to make it happen. And Logan like wasn't here for one of them, and your internet was really bad for one of them, and then we had a guest for one of them. And so there were a bunch of times that I was like, I really, really would like to share this now, and it's not happening. And so, yeah, I mean, it was when we found that deck and, or we like maybe, the idea of a deck where it felt like it was the second time in not very long that someone had been like, here's the solution. Oh, but little asterisk star next to it doesn't really work for you. And so I was like, this is good enough. This is a good enough catalyst. I have to say this before I go crazy.
But now what do you do now that I know when I inevitably die again and choose not to come back to make the choice for you? How does Elowen live with that?
Look, Logan, I've been struggling with Elowen's morality for a while now. We'll deal.
Oh boy. Wait, I'm trying to remember. You guys didn't talk about this again later, did you? It was kind of just this conversation and then that was it?
You came to my room and mentioned it briefly, but we didn't really talk about it.
Yeah, I think we mostly have just let it sit there.
Yeah, because I think the next morning Azaria makes Elowen tea and is like,
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, why didn't you tell me, bud?
I was too busy thinking about 3 gnomes in a trench coat.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Because I think it was maybe like the conversation later between what was it, Drac, Gideon, and Azaria, or you kind of like mentioned like, yeah, of course I would like do what needed to be done to let Alwyn live. And I think Dallis had like one of her like full body reaction.
Yeah, that's where Dallis threw herself off of her chair.
So funny.
I have a lot of conflicting emotions.
Yep.
Yeah, so like in this moment, like I can't even imagine. Like I feel like this question feels so fucking like stupid to ask, but it's like, what is the outcome that you're like
what do we
hoping for?
I don't know, Christy. I need you to tell me. Someone needs to tell me what I'm supposed to do because I don't know.
Well, I remember like when we were starting like a session 0 for this campaign, like those of you who were in the previous one, you were like, oh, like I would love some more gray morality, like some true, like really split you in half kind of like, I gotta make a big choice here. So this is very well, it might be one of those situations.
How does that feel, Dallis? You're being punished by
I wasn't in the last campaign. I don't know if I asked for this.
But Logan was.
Yeah, sorry,
Logan,
I
this is
asked
your
for
fault.
this. Yeah.
This makes sense. Teni and I had a long conversation after 25 where I just complained about this for a while, and he was like, you should tell Logan, you should tell Azaria. And I was like, no, I'm not going to. Maybe I should have.
It really was like a therapy session for Ellen.
It was a lot. It was a long conversation. It really fucked me up. It really did things to my brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like it really speaks to Alwyn as well that you didn't say anything for so long. 'Cause I just feel like that's just, I don't know, it's who you've had to be for such a long time where you're like, oh, I only rely on myself. So I wonder, is there anything to now like being like, oh, well, I shared this with the group?
Well, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it as well, like it was like a selfish choice as well, where it was a lot of like, it felt like once I told the group, you would never let me go through with it, right? Like I was like, as long as they don't know, I can still maybe swing this. And I don't know if I ever like really would have, question mark. But it felt like as soon as I did say it, I was like, now there are 5 people who are gonna stop me from doing this. So I think that's part of why I held on to it for so long as well, where I was like,
really? You think Gideon
like
will
this
stop
option.
you from doing this?
Yeah, you got like maybe 3 people that'll stop you.
I think Elwyn had a conversation with Gideon a while ago that was like,
episode 26.
Yeah, and Gideon was like, hey, just don't go too far, all right?
Truly,
So in a way, that conversation was kind of a result of this whole situation.
Oh, it absolutely was. That's what that conversation was. I was like, Gideon, don't let me do it. And you're like, I think you should. And I was like, oh no, Gideon, please. I actually need someone to tell me not to.
Yep, sorry. Wrong guy.
Drac was
the
probably
wrong
the
person.
person
I
to
should have talked to Drac. Yeah.
As we kind of learned in this episode too from Gideon and Drac's conversation, Drac is a fantastic person to talk to about morality.
100%.
Yeah.
Kumbala, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Why is Adam a pirate?
Why is Adam a pirate?
Don't gaslight Kumbala.
Every
Why
once in a
isn't
while,
he a pirate,
everyone
Mom?
has to be a pirate. So that's.
It's because he missed our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
So he figured better late than never. But better
Exactly.
not too late than not late
That's true.
than never.
Yeah, well, that was funny. Or again, another very fun, stressful thing for me, where I was like, Gideon's the only person that I was like, hey, like actually, like just keep an eye on me. Like, don't let me do a bad thing. And since then, Ryan's been like, maybe I'll retire Gideon. Maybe I'll play Amdis. Boy, that sounds fun. And I'm like, Ryan, you're my only hope. Help
But
me.
Gideon, I could go
I
this
have to
whole
tell the group.
campaign. I could go this whole campaign without retiring. That is an option. I could. But
Yeah.
I have a list of circumstances that if they occur, he retires.
Well, I don't need you anymore. I got the rest of the group.
That was one of the circumstances.
That was one of the circumstances.
No, I'm joking.
What is? I know we're not really like super playing with alignment stuff, but do you know what Elowyn's alignment is? Out of curiosity.
I would put her at true neutral. And
Fascinating.
yeah, Teni and I had a conversation about this on an airplane. Yeah, where I feel like yeah, I would have put Elwyn at true neutral. And I was really like, by the end of this campaign, I think we're falling into either evil or good, and I don't fully know which way we're gonna go. But if we didn't go evil after 25, I think we're safe now. That was
what
the
happens
whole,
with that.
well,
Wait, isn't
We'll see
that...
though once you're actually offered that choice, because like right now it's all
Yeah,
theoretical.
It's all hypothetical. Because isn't there a
Logan, we don't-
card from the deck that changes your alignment?
I believe there is.
So what
Th-
would
I mean,
happen if someone was...
There are so few amount of effects in D&D 5e which have like an effect pertinent to alignment. So which is why it's so easy to just kind of throw it out the window. But in a case like that, like as a role player, I would kind of leave it up to you guys. Like, how do you interpret a rule such as you draw this card and you are forced to go evil? What does that mean for your character?
Oh, that's so neat.
God, that's
Oh.
terrifying.
Also, Dallis, to back up a bit, the conversation between Gideon and Elwyn, where he was like, "You should pursue this." Gideon also said, "I will put you down if
Yeah.
it comes to it. I don't want to
Yeah.
do it, but
no,
I'll
I
do
know.
it."
I felt really bad after that conversation. I remember that didn't make me feel any better because then you came to me and you were like, I really don't want to. And I was like, oh, fuck.
But I
Oh.
will. I've told you, I'm a man of my word.
Like, even in this situation, though, like, again, what is Alan hoping for? Because if, like,
don't
if the rest of the party is there now and we're like, don't do it, are you not going to be, like, equally pissed at us
Yes,
for saying so?
I will be. I don't know what I want. My life's really hard. This is why I take really long showers. I think about this all the time.
Damn, your poor water bill.
Oh, my God. Is this how you got an eye infection?
Exactly. Too much context in the shower.
You guys forgot to read the fine print at the bottom of this campaign. Prolonged exposure to
May
campaign may cause eye injuries
Oh, no.
and excessive water bill.
It's so funny.
It's truly been a huge point in my head for 6 months.
Love that.
Yeah,
God.
it's really good. It's really good.
Oh.
No, right after 25. Sorry, now I'm just going to talk about episode 25 because I can. But I really debated like going evil. I was really like, I think I could get ahead of the group. I think I could get to all the enclaves before them. I think I could do it.
Dallas, I'm so freaking proud of you.
Oh, my God.
Such a Theo move.
I really, Teni, you don't know how much I went back and forth in my head about it. It was truly just because I wanted to keep playing Elwyn, but I really was like, oh boy, it could be really cool though. If she just became a villain.
That's terrifying, but also very interesting. I'm just thinking about the ramifications of that. Like,
That would destroy me.
yeah.
That would literally destroy Azaria.
Well, the other option was stick with the group, have you all help me get the name, and then at the very last second betray you. That was
Isn't
my
that, like,
other
that's not an
process.
option still.
But I've told you now, you know I could do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because we've already had the conversation, I think, out of character that you were like having a hard time being like, oh, well, I didn't care for a long time. If it came down to it and one of you had to die, I probably would have. And it's like
That's
only
true. This
recently
isn't
that you're
new.
like, oh, well, I guess I probably wouldn't like sacrifice one of you. But now I'm not so sure if that's true.
No, it's true. I put on the bracelet. I'm confident in this decision.
Yeah. I mean, has either yourself or Elwyn thought about like, if you, this is so shitty, I am so sorry, if you achieved the goal that you've been searching for so long through an act of like such deep betrayal, like, would you not feel like the rest of your life still isn't like is still cursed?
I know, Christy. I think about all the things. What are my options?
I feel like I've told her similar things off camera.
Hello. God. Well,
Anyways, I'm really excited to have you all try to help me figure this out now because I am struggling. That's why I needed to tell
can't
the
wait.
group because I was like, I don't know what to do anymore. Someone needs to help me come up with a plan.
Very excited. Well, my whole thing is wrapped now, so I can have nothing better to do than that's my whole thing now. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna help my fucking friends. I got 2 people with feet in the darkness. Well, kind of Rhea as well, but I'll figure it out. It's my new mission.
Feet in the darkness? What does that mean?
Like both Elowen and Gideon have like such clear paths where they could like err into
Okay.
a truly dark version of themselves. And so my whole like Nell's whole goal now is just like, how do I fix this for them?
Denny didn't call us contingency plan for nothing.
Oh god. I forgot about those names.
I don't like that at all.
The best code name. Period.
Where did you share those again, Denny?
It's in the Discord.
They're in the Discord. I think
General?
under the Play Dicely text channel, which I'm just going to throw a link to that up in the chat here if you haven't joined us on Discord.
Dallis, are you good if I move on?
I'm not good, but yeah, go ahead, move on.
Okay. I'll just distract you then. Anywho, after this kind of like total Elowen breakdown, Charity shows up. Yay! She updates the Seekers. Oh, I can't read it all. She updates the Seekers on how everything went with the Smoky Gulf Druids. I love personally that she acts fast because I was like, oh shit, there's no way she's already like been there and back already, but she fucking gets it done, which is great. And now there is potential for trade, and also this trade would help with the completion of the trainway. And she's a little overwhelmed by Cap, but who isn't? Charity asks Rhea for suggestions on how to better the relationship with the druids and to make it beneficial on both sides, with the idea of respecting the druidic sites and enclave territories. And she also gives us a rune, which is for the teleportation circle to our keep, which is so helpful because you can cast that now, right, Elowen?
Yeah, I need some ink. Need some
Sweet.
fancy inks, but yes, in theory.
Fantastic. Well, I'm sure we can probably find those at the next place you visit, whether that's Balesville.
Do you think your village would have that?
I mean, I was actually about to ask that. Would Dalen have fancy ink? He's got a whole like printing zone, as I established.
You're muted.
Then
You're muted.
Huh?
That shouldn't be the case. That was weird. All right. It depends on what the definition in this case of fancy inks means. Like, I'll have to look at the material component.
Fancy ink. I think they need to be imbued with gems.
Is it not like the classic kind of
Isn't it
wizard
chalk?
ink?
It might be
It's
chalk.
usually
Honestly, I'm
chalk.
making
I
up
think-
words. I need some sort of material component that I
Chalk
don't.
does sound familiar. I'll look this up and get back to you.
Yeah.
All
Rare
right.
chalks and inks. Okay, I was half
Oh,
right.
both.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why I don't
But
have.
we
it.
do have some precious gems, don't we?
We do.
Just
did we not just
Yeah.
sell them? Or am I?
can't
You-
remember.
I don't-
You guys bought a bunch of jewelry, took the diamonds out of them, and now you've got like a lot of scrap silver and gold.
Sweet.
Just gonna trade those for scrap gems.
And I mean, you have. No, I guess you guys do have some like. Oh no, I know what you're talking about, Christy. Yes, I think you guys did sell the assorted
I think
valuable rocks.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Because
And
that's
then
how we like.
bought the diamonds.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have a lot of like scrap metal, but not the jewels anymore. So there's that. Boop doop bop beep. So yeah, so thrown by the fact that Charity showed up. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't expect that at all. So exciting.
Yeah.
Were you tempted at all to talk to her, Dallis? Like, because you didn't get to like really ask her for help when we met her because you weren't there.
No, well, Layla came in clutch and told me what I was going to ask Charity, so
Mm.
I didn't really have any other questions for her.
Wait, in this episode, did you talk to her?
No, previous
What was it
previous
again?
episode. Well, because I was going to ask Charity about Wish, but Layla
Oh.
maybe I should have still, because Layla's options aren't great, so maybe I should have asked Charity.
Huh, funny.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Anyone else have any other ideas? I'm crossing them off the list one by one. So anything else?
I'm working on it. I only
Ooh.
just got my new
Yeah,
episode.
Just murder the stranger.
You know,
I do
yeah.
have
Okay,
divination
okay.
now
Okay.
as a spell. I could just
Ooh.
ask Denny for the answer, and he has to tell me the truth.
I think he can be vague though, can't he?
He can be vague, but it has to be truthful.
I mean, he can say like you
Anthony,
already.
I am a
you already know what the
master of
truth
being
is.
vague.
That's true.
As I'm
Okay.
sure you're all accustomed to at this point.
Yeah, I know.
Nah, not really. That's not what you're talking about.
But also, I think it's funny hearing Dallis say that. You know, she's like, "Oh, Willela gave me the answer to talk to powerful wizards. Here's a powerful wizard. I don't need to ask her a question now."
That's an excellent point, I suppose. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see her again.
Really makes one think.
Mhm.
We do have sending. You could just ask. It's no
Yeah.
downtime.
Excellent point. Excellent point.
Yeah, it's gonna be really easy to explain in 25 words. Oh, hey, cursed. Help, please. Thanks.
Look, we can be very succinct when we want to be.
Okay.
Help!
That's
Help!
Buffalo, 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 buffalo.
What?
So, anyways,
You guys
moving
don't know
on.
that? That's
I know what you're
Okay,
talking about.
thank you.
Yeah.
I do not know what I'm sorry.
We'll move
Buffalo
on.
7 times is actually a cohesive, proper sentence in English.
What?
Yeah.
Moving on from that, you guys can talk about this on break. Thank you very much. So Charity is exhausted. She goes back to her room, accompanied by Abe, who returns the journal of Faye Applebutter. And the two of you guys talk about Abe's past life as Pascalis the Brave and how Charity used to know him. And then you guys talk about the desolation and the midnight sun, and like if it would have been possible for Pascal's soul to be absorbed in the crystal, which I am so glad you guys talked about that, because I was thinking about that. I'm like, how did that work? What was the timing on it? And we didn't really give us any answers, but that's...
How did I not give you an answer?
Well, I thought like it still was kind of like not... It's like, oh, a lot
It
of rights
wasn't
are
like a
confusing.
definitive answer, but the crystal ended up underground before the desolation, which happened after the crystal was there and Pascalis died.
Okay, so all right, I'll allow it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Charity just didn't know if that meant like 5 years before the desolation or 10 years. Like there is a
she wasn't
window.
sure. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it would have been... Wait, how long would it have been for Pascalis? How many years?
Well,
Like when did like? Never mind. It doesn't matter.
crystal ends up underground. 5 years later, Pascalis dies. Soul ends up in Gem.
Great. Boop boop boop. Oh, so yeah. So it seems like Charity and Abe slash Pascalis were old friends back in the day. Adam, what are your thoughts on this connection and how close do you think they were? And how is Abe feeling? Jesus.
Definitely excited to learn, that he has a past life that is documented and that he's been able to read about what he was like. Obviously, there's parts in there that maybe aren't great, but, and it's interesting, like, obviously there wasn't anything in the journal that Danny described that suggested, like, anything more than just being friends. Well, I guess right, because it wasn't Charity, it was Faye's journal. Yeah, what the player knows versus what the character knows. But
Do you, the player, know something different?
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, if you've watched
Okay.
our lore stream from way back when, you might be able to have some possible other threads.
I did watch it. Doesn't mean I remembered it. Damn it.
It's also
Well,
escaped my brain too.
there- So to kind of suggest what Adam's alluding to, and there isn't a proper answer on this because you guys wouldn't know, but there was a lot of body swapping that happened, and Faye ended up in the body of Charity. But who knows what happened in the last 50 years? Because also, Charity came back in a different body. So the souls and the bodies kind of were present.
Wait, so are we talking to Charity in her
so in essence,
or are we talking to Faye?
So in essence, what I'm saying to Adam is congratulations on picking up on a mystery that apparently nobody else has picked up on.
Yeah.
Well, how on earth could we have?
Oh, Denny,
No,
it's been
half of you couldn't have.
It's been sitting. All right, I remembered the NPC you gave me. I remembered, but I was like, it's not going to come up. They just died, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but we can talk about it as players. Theorize. It's always fun.
Yeah, it's just been sitting. I'm like,
I was so confused. This didn't help me at all because now I'm like, okay, so was it like Faye and Charity's body that had like a thing with Pascalis? And who are we talking to now? Like, whose body is it? I hate all this fucking body double stuff because we don't know it in character. It's driving me crazy. I hate this. I can't wait for this.
Oh, tinfoil hat. What if Kardrak, the person pretending to be Kardrak, is actually Pascalis? Or vice versa?
Well, isn't that... Adam already kind of had that theory, but I thought it was confirmed that he's Pascalis now.
I don't know if it's been like 100% confirmed, but I'd put it
Well,
in
he
the 90%
saw-
range.
Like, I saw a human when I looked at him, not a dwarf.
Oh, you know what? That's true.
That's
Yeah.
true,
You did have the
Well-
true sight thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm so confused. What if Kardrak is Faye Apple Butter?
Hey, there we go.
He's evil now. I guess
Or it's
we'll know.
Bylan.
Fucking no. That really went off the rails because I got super confused. Adam,
No worries.
how else? Like anything else about how like you or Abe is doing body swapping bullshit aside?
It kind of just continues that ongoing debate of like, who is Abe? How much is Pascalis? How much is the Chosen? How much is the influence of the 5 first people he met? Like, and what all that is, and what that means for his future and everything, and how he sees himself. Not really sure yet, obviously. So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
It's so interesting if we ever get like definitive answers on that, which I don't know if we will, but it's like I still don't get it because it's like, are you a brand new soul or are you just like blank slate Pascalis? And that's the question I really want to have answered. But I feel like Abe is also wondering that. Like, what does it mean?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh, this is great. I'm gonna have so much free time now as Nell to like just dig into everyone else's stuff. Cool beans. Moving on. Myself, Elowen, and Abe all go to bed. And Drakazaria and Gideon hang out at the bar and discuss other ways to help Rhea and Elowen potentially, along with the concept that maybe magic is the opposite force of the void, and also wanting to have buddy systems in dungeons. I don't remember this, but
What?
Just say buddy systems in dungeons.
I don't know.
This spawned because Azaria almost died instantly in Cadway's workshop.
Oh.
This is like the second time where we've had like combat where it's like everyone is somewhere that's not near me.
Hey, Logan? Why is that, do you think?
So I think it's because the real reason is everyone wants to be everywhere. I went to the button and I was like, I'll let everyone else explore the rest of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly everyone who's at the button was like, I'm at this door, I'm at this other thing. And I was like, cool.
Yay. I'm still at the button.
Also,
Okay.
we had I had no idea how big that room was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Like,
also
I was
fair.
like, this is a workshop. And then like, once we kind of saw
Yeah.
the map, I was like, oh, we're a lot farther from each other than I thought.
Yes, I did actually
Yeah.
also have that same realization. I was referencing, because I feel like it was in the Druid Enclave when we were like, okay, we went through this hallway, we're like all trying to be like really good and sound, and then we got to the part where it was like everything was kind of branching off, and I feel like you took off ahead. I got so mad. So I was like, we literally walked through that hallway with our plan in motion, only for it to like fucking disintegrate the moment we got into this room.
Well, I think Azaria is
remember
actually a
that.
good person to like scout because they are
I'm
they're
super
very,
stealthy.
They're very
Right.
stealthy. They have good eyes for minute details, but in the situation in the workshop, that was just, we didn't know how big the place was.
Yeah.
And yeah, but otherwise, yes, that was the reason for the buddy system thing. Two by
Well,
two.
if you want them to stealth, then how does that work? Like,
Then
Well,
someone
the
stealthing
last time I
with them.
tried to stealth, we sent Cap with me, who could not stealth, and just tumbled into me and made a bunch of noise.
Or at the very least, have someone with eyes on Azaria when they stealth.
Yeah.
Gideon's stealthy. He can tag
Yeah.
along.
Gideon,
They're also a
yeah.
disgusting combat combo. Well, I guess a little bit less gross with the
Yeah, a little less gross now.
shapeshifter or sharpshooter.
Shapeshifter.
What am I talking about? I don't. What?
I'm
Interesting.
not a werewolf.
I'm not a guy who changes shape. What?
Anyway, I'll be a shapeshifter in like 30 more sessions when I get another level of druid.
Yeah.
wow. Great. I can't wait. I feel like we should take advantage of the fact that we're in my village. I feel like before we leave, like, we're gonna go talk to like the elders that teach the paladin classes and be like, some guidance on, like, on like a
What did
group
you say?
tactics.
Need guidance
We
on
need guidance
combat.
on like,
Oh,
group,
okay.
group combat tactics because we
I mean,
We
Azaria
keep
is
having the
literally
conversation
I know, but we're not doing a good job.
Like,
putting it in
stick.
place.
together.
Yeah.
We don't have to stand next to each other.
Yeah.
Abe
But
and
just-
Azaria can lead a combat convention for us.
Perfect.
Doesn't matter if
Alright.
nobody follows it.
Yeah, I was like, whenever this talk about combat that we keep saying will happen happens, I was like, Azaria already knows the tactics that they're going to be like, we need to do these things.
And Abe's
Yeah,
just
you
like,
should.
they're not going to listen, so...
We do literally have 2 war heroes in the party, so
No, that's true.
We do.
Well, maybe one day I'll learn and I'll listen. Although I don't have to now because my whole thing's based on being impulsive.
There you go.
I watched the episode and heard that.
I
I
know.
was sitting there being like, no, Danny, please.
I remember the same thought. I didn't tell her that.
We'll get to that when we get to that.
We'll
Let's focus
talk
on
about
what
that
we
at the
got.
end. Yeah.
It's just Denny being like, plant the beans.
I want to see those beans in the ground,
Good
watered.
fucking-
Go get yourself killed.
Yeah. Anyway, this conversation wraps up with Azaria and Gideon talking about potentially experiencing death. I mean, Rhea did for sure, but Gideon, we don't know 100%. You guys have anything to discuss about this conversation? It's kind of just a little brief touch on how Azaria is feeling about everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that I know. This was like one of the things I asked Denny when I died. I was like, what do I know? Like, what was it? And it was like, this is the little bit that you remember. And I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, my thought is that there is something part of it is like, my thought is like, oh, now that I know that, like, if I die, it's different. Maybe it's just a different thing. And part of me is like, maybe we're not meant to, like, it is too much to know what is beyond that point. And if you remember it and come back remembering it, it'll fuck you up.
Oh, that needs to happen to Ryan.
Get more fucked up.
Well, I just feel like that's like, isn't that such a Cthulhu thing, right? Like seeing things beyond like your comprehension.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Gideon does come back from the brink and remembers things, yeah, he's gonna lose his shit. Gonna be retired as a character.
Can't wait. And we all know that that's going to go really well. So
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, it depends. It depends. Okay. We might just go get help. Okay.
okay.
Therapy. He's referring to therapy.
Therapy.
Yeah, definitely. We're all going to go to therapy and be really normal. That's
Gideon genuinely might. And if it goes on for a few levels, I already know what feat I'm gonna take.
oh boy.
I have it planned.
Oh god. Okay. Well, I can't wait to see your machinations at some point. Anyway, so we move from that conversation to another very beautiful conversation between Drac and Gideon, where Drac tells Gideon that he has worth and that he's been developing these pack names for everyone in the group, and how he sees the party as his pack. Anthony, do you want to talk a little bit about the concept of the pack names and when you started developing them?
Yeah, I started developing these pretty early on. I think it was, I want to say, like after the fight in Brushfire was the town name, right?
Grassfire.
Grassfire, thank you. Yeah, after that, where they got ambushed and they all had to like fight to get each other out, I think he started to see the group as like an actual unit per se. And then, yeah, just started kind of trying to pay attention to their quirks, to their mannerisms, to how they fight and how they interact with each other. And I kind of envision pack names as like it's a nickname. It's basically all it is, and it just happens to be in Draconic because that's where he's from. But yeah, it's like an all-encompassing name that can cover many meanings and many facets of a person. So I try to use very broad terms that can capture multiple different personalities that a person may have. So we don't know Gideon's yet because he hasn't put on the bracelet, but we know 2 of the other 5.
Oh, by the way, Anthony, I've been on the phone with the Screen Actors Guild for your award. They've not gotten back to me yet.
Seriously. God, it was so good.
Thank you. Yeah, did a lot of planning for that.
Wait, so we never heard Gideon's name?
Nope. Because he has not put on the bracelet, and he will not receive his pack name until he does.
Yeah, it was just Drac notifying Gideon that these names are a thing he's been given, or that he's been thinking of. And when Gideon's ready, he'll give him his.
I see. Okay.
So it was alluded to in that conversation.
I love it.
Ooh.
Well, I can't
Yeah,
wait
we're just gonna go
see.
scrub the footage and bring up the Draconic dictionary.
Yeah, like, are you using like an official source for Draconic words, or kind of making up your own?
Yeah, there's like a online translator that someone has kind of compiled from multiple sources, and it's kind of crowdsourced as well, so people can add their own translations to things. But yeah, so far so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, the rest of the conversation was also very good. Because Gideon starts to kind of dig into the whole revelation of potentially being Armani Kane, and he asks Drac about if redemption matters and if someone can be redeemed after giving in to impulses of anger, hate, and destruction. And you give an answer about what you have seen Gideon do, and all of those things being part of creation and good. The quote that Denny pulled for this, which I really like, is, "If you went so far to one side, the universe would bring you back, and you have chosen to go the other way. It is a beautiful choice, and it's one you made." Which, again, gorgeous. Ryan, was this a topic you would have discussed with whoever you had a one-on-one with next, or did you specifically want to have this conversation with Drac?
It was either gonna be Drac or Azaria, to be honest, because those are the two party members that Gideon has actually talked to the least in this campaign, and he wanted an honest take from the least biased source possible. So he was like, okay, Drac is a pretty good center of morality. Azaria, same thing. And they'll be upfront with me, for sure. So it just happened to be Drac.
I love that. Danny, do you want to do the next one? Because it's about
Sure.
you.
And funny enough, Ryan, that you mentioned it, like the fact that you hadn't really interacted with Drac and Azaria. In my opinion, I feel like that trio of characters specifically is one that we haven't like seen a lot of, you know, firmly establishing the relationship between you, the three of you, and that conversation at the bar was a nice welcome bridging between the three of you. So I want to know And I guess Ryan kind of already answered this, but maybe for Anthony and Logan, what do you feel like your relationship to the other two is? Like, how does your character view them?
Well, yeah, I think Gideon, I think there's a level of, like, I think the two just haven't found, like, whatever it is that, like, really bonds them in this. Because, like Gideon's there and stuff, and, like, you know, great traveling companion and stuff, and respects them a lot, but, like, just hasn't had, like, that, like, oh, what are these, like, things that bring us together? Because I think, like, Azaria, even though there was that moment of being, like, early on, you know, like, annoyed with, like, Drac in that one session, I think very much respects Drac and, like, values their opinion a lot. There was, like, a reason that they showed Drac first that they could do magic. I think they've also, like, seeing, like, after they went down, like, the focus that, like, Drac had to being like, I need to be able to get the party up and stuff. Like, I think they really respect that, like, maybe that wasn't what Drac was hoping to do and stuff in their, like, journey, but there's, like, oh, okay, you see, like, what you need to do and what betters people. And so I think they really respect Drac.
Yeah, and for me, just to go off of that, like, doubling down on taking more levels in Cleric was a direct kind of reaction to the party, several party members going down, and Drac just knowing that he has to be that bastion against death's door as much as he can be. And thankfully for Ryan taking the healer feat, I don't have to do that as much, hopefully, but I will always have the clear, what is it called, resuscitation device ready to go at all times. But yeah, just to the relationships, yeah, I think Drac was feeling very other to Azaria after the bid, but thanks to recent kind of developments, he's definitely feeling a lot closer to them. And then for Gideon, he's always felt that Gideon is like a close companion, but one that maybe Gideon kept arm's length from. Didn't feel like Gideon was going out of his way to reach out, so I think Drac decided to flip it on Gideon and go out of his way to reach out, because he can see that Gideon needs some sort of nudge in a good direction.
And I suppose we could see some of that too in the fact that you've given everybody the bracelet and you've kind of, like, noted and kept track of, like, Gideon still not kind of having his on.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you've been kind of, well, as Drac does, have been observing.
I got eyes on everything.
Excellent.
Was that everyone? Did Ryan answer that?
I mean, Ryan, did you have anything more you wanted to add to that?
Just, like, I guess a little couple extra details. For Azaria, Gideon is just so amazed that this person is still alive, being like 700 years old.
Amazed.
You know, being that old. So it's that sort of thing where, like, if Azaria were ever to say anything, Gideon would be like, they know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, that's life. For Drac, like, it's sort of I have a lot of respect for you sort of thing. I like you. Just, you know, I'm just sad right now. And I can't. I'm trying, Drac. that's my relationship with Drac. It's like, I'm trying.
It's kind of one of those situations where your friend's a golden retriever and you're like, I can't meet your energy yet.
That's precisely it. Yeah. I've been both in life, so it's possible. I swear.
Is that, you don't have to answer, but is that the reason why you haven't put the bracelet on? Is because you don't feel like you have the energy to commit to that?
I think there's a lot of things behind it. That's probably part of it, but I think the larger part is also the loss of his family. This sort of accepting himself into this pack would be like finding a new family. And with someone who's firmly familiar with the feeling of losing that, he's like, I just can't go through that again. Not right now. So, if he, he has been healing. I've been sort of keeping track of this, like how he's feeling and what he's going through and how he feels about the party and everything. And so far, things are getting better for him. So maybe he'll put the bracelet on at some point.
We'll see what happens in Palesville.
We will fucking see what happens in Balesville, won't we? So, we'll see. It could be what makes him put it on. It could be what makes him keep it off forever. I don't know. Yeah.
Curious to find out.
Me too.
No pressure though, or anything.
No pressure at all.
Well, you guys further cement your newfound closer friendship by drinking the night away. And then we went to break with the trick that Teni can't use anymore, which is having me roll for wild magic, causing my name and a little dot of myself to appear on a map. I need to go back now and actually like reread these things because I never read them before because I wanted to be surprised. Because I'm like, what the fuck was that magical effect? Just that was it just that map or would I be on any map? Like,
well, let me just say, you don't have access to the chart because I created it myself.
I know, but now I'm like curious.
And
Will
I
be
might
allowed?
still implement it anyway.
Well,
Just incredibly rarely.
don't like that. But this would be like the non-violent one, or?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, that's all right then. Great. Cool beans. When we came back from break, Abe has a weird experience that wakes him in the middle of the night, feeling like a fluttering in his heart if he had one, and a soft pulse through the earth. What the fuck was this? Does anyone have any
What?
theory?
I forgot this happened.
Yeah, I forgot about it too.
Tinfoil hat
Yes.
approacheth.
Oh, all right. I'm in.
The Chosen's old body has a heartbeat now.
No. Adam.
I like that theory, but it scares me.
Oh, fuck shit, because we knew that they were all going to Tempest Expanse for
Yep.
something, and that's where I think of, oh, fucking shit.
Yep.
That's
No, we need to go to Tempest Expanse right now.
Or it's just because he had a major realization about who he used to be, and so it's like memories are going to start happening now. So
Yeah, and
Can
like,
you really consider it?
I feel like, am I the only one who, like, observing the conversation between Abe and Charity was kind of like, is there something? Was there something? Am I the only one who thought that? I don't know.
You are not the
Or, like romantic, or
Possibly. I don't know. It just got
We talked about this before.
yeah, I brought that up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because we were
Yeah,
saying, like,
I'm
that's
just
for...
not listened to. I see.
I listened to you, I swear. But
Well,
that's my brain.
Ryan, that's where we got into the whole body swap thing.
Yeah, because
Oh.
then we were like, we don't know if it was like, when was Charity Faye, and is this current Charity, or is it... we don't know, because we don't know in character.
Yes, I was testing you.
But yeah, in regards to what Adam was just saying, yeah, it's either anxiety or the end of the world. So take your pick.
That's great.
Okay.
Well,
I'm-
I got so
Neat.
anxious about what you just said, I pulled my headphones out, so I missed that part. But good. Great. We have a lot of places we need to go. I don't know
Like
how
too
to-
many
And
places.
now we might be hunted by a giant necro demon thing.
Good.
What?
When are we not?
Good.
Yeah. Classic.
Very good.
Oh, fuck me. I think you're so right about that thing being... Okay, you need to write that down in the lore.
That
doc
is a
later.
phenomenal theory.
That's
God
a
damn it.
chrome tinfoil hat theory
That
right
is
there.
so good. All right, I'm
Extra shiny.
gonna
Extra
add that to
shiny.
her
That's
thing.
a gilded tinfoil
The
hat.
interior layer of this pirate hat.
Gold plated.
Tinfoil.
Whoa.
The government can't get me in here.
Nope.
Sense now.
I will be flavorful in this tinfoil hat.
Yes.
We're all baked potatoes. Anyway, that just shook me. I'm gonna have to go. I need to go take a shower now. I think about that.
It's a good theory. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. So the next day, I now leave a letter underneath Charity's door. We don't have to discuss it. And then Abe comes downstairs and is wished a happy Dawn Star Day by the barkeep. And then I'm just chilling via the light of my little dancing light fox friend, drawing. And I also wish Abe a happy Dawnstar Day, which, again, you said, Teni, that was
An
just like
event everyone
random.
knew was there.
Yeah, we all knew. No, but you're saying that was like
all knew
random
this event was
timing,
coming
right?
up.
That like you counted backwards or something, and you're like, oh, I guess it's the next day, because I don't think it was there the episode before, right?
No,
Like,
it was not there the episode before.
Yeah.
I was looking at the calendar, and I think I was doing some world building stuff, and I was like, all right, when did events in the last campaign happen? And I had on the calendar, like at the start of this campaign, I was like, there's a holiday called Barrier Day. It's technically like a week and a half later than what Barrier Day celebrates, is the day that the prismatic wall came down and the Battle of Rollbar happened. And I was like, okay, so the Starborn would have been created like a certain amount of days before. And the math of it was like, oh my god, it's today. And I threw it on the calendar.
so fun how that works out. But it's like one of those things, because it's like, even if like I fully didn't know you had done that math, so I thought you were just like, oh, this is convenient, and just put it in. And I was like, wow.
I was just like, we would have missed it if the math was perfect.
Oh my god, it's so crazy. But yeah, so it worked out perfectly, because then for Abe's birthday, I was able to give him the picture of what I saw when I looked at him with True Sight, which obviously wasn't a surprise for Adam, like person, because you were the one that asked to know about this and came up with the description itself. But how did that make Abe feel, especially like on the heels of having this conversation with Charity?
It's almost like I should have thought of this beforehand.
You didn't think we were gonna ask you about this?
I guess not. Apparently.
I mean,
I think
it's fine
just-
to not have an answer.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah,
Abe in
honestly.
real time is still processing like that, I think that was part of what our conversation was in character, where I was just like, I don't have any expectation for you needing to tell me anything about this. I just want you
Yeah.
to have it. So
Yeah, I think just kind of information overload and like everything falling into place very quickly and not necessarily knowing what to do with it, because okay, he knows what he looked like. Why? Is that relevant anymore? He
Yeah.
doesn't look like that now, so what does... I don't know, he just hasn't had the time really to think of... Maybe, well, he's had the time, maybe not the desire to kind of...
yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff happening and not necessarily thinking about his own existential dread is what should be motivating him right now.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to think about, though, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do I feel like, Teni, your question kind of covers this, but I'm going to go over it again just because you wrote it way better than what I just said, which is Abe is learning a lot about new information about his past life, and then to find out that there's a Dawnstar Day, which celebrates the creation of the Starborn. At the same time, he's receiving pretty certain evidence of who he had been in a previous life. I can imagine this being a situation where he's beginning to grapple with his identity. Can you speak to that and how you're holding up? We kind of covered it, but I just thought it was better worded than mine. Yeah. I'm fascinated to see, like, once Abe processes, like, where do
Yeah.
you go from here? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh man. Oh yeah, I guess I should speak to the fact that while we were having that really like nice conversation, as my wild magic is wont to do, it really wasn't that cinematically pleasing, because I was 3 gnomes in a trench coat the entire time, which I think is
What?
Well,
You're not
Wait,
always
what are you
being
talking about?
3 gnomes in a
I don't
trench coat?
remember this.
Yeah, this didn't happen.
I'm
I
fairly.
I
We
think you
skipped
got
this
your
one.
notes mixed up on this one, actually.
I'm pretty sure.
No. There's no Nell. There's only 3 notes in a trench coat. Who
Yeah.
are all of you talking about?
That I'm with Logan on this.
That's the classic saying, right? Friends gaslight each other.
I have that cross stitch in a pillow actually. Oh my god, that was the most chaotic. And I think that was technically my last wild magic
Yeah.
research,
Yeah.
which honestly I kind of love because it was so fucking weird and stupid.
I mean, we got the All-Stars done. We got Fireball on Self. We got Potted Plant.
That's true.
I mean,
Horse
The-
duck.
Force
the
Duck.
sorcerer
still
spell
exists?
list is still there. She just doesn't get the friendly list that, well, like I said, I'm going to use it anyway, but the friendly list is technically what is going to become less common.
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm gonna miss Horse Duck.
The potentially dangerous ones are still real.
In my new oath?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's just only on a roll of a 1.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Surprise!
Wee-hoo.
Cool. Well, I can read. Good.
To be fair, you were reading it in a car on the way to an airport. So.
Yeah, I did I screenshot like the whole oath so I would have it like if I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I could because I was gonna like read it on the plane or something, but I did not screenshot the new wild magic chart because I think I might go back and read it now because I'm like, oh, I like to be surprised, but anyway.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Anywho, so the gang and 3 gnomes in a trench coat, now back to being Nell, head out of New Fugleby after stopping at New Fugleby Farms to get some honey, which is so fun. And then we begin travel to Varmhall at a blessed speed, which I did not put together was the whole like Equinbach thing, but that's what that was, right? Like because Gideon.
Because of the fantastic conversation that happened between Drac and Gideon, I was like, I'm gonna throw a boon on this travel.
Yay, love that.
Then
Very
you put a little
thematic
bit
and
of
poetic.
spice on there, you know.
It's great.
Yeah.
Is he adding spice or is he just pointing at it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh, you're the best.
Oh boy. But yeah, during this travel, Drac and Abe return and nest to a tree, and then we also hear news from passing travelers that a lot of folks are making pilgrimage to Balesville. Great. Love that. So Gideon has Drac message his parents and Maudie to get out of there, but Gideon's mom Tara seems pretty at ease with the whole situation and just wishes that Gideon would return home, which is not suspicious at all. And then we use 2 sendings to try and get Monty to come to Timberstead. Ryan, at this point, Gideon is experiencing some suspicion and confusion about who might be involved with the cult activity in Balesville. I wonder why. But you seem to have somewhat more faith in Monty. Have you completely given up on your parents? And do you have any suspicions or theories, like maybe only one of them actually being involved?
Gideon is entirely given up on his parents. The sending basically that Drac just sent to his parents was like the last nail in that coffin. And then with Monty, he still has a little bit of hope. Yeah, he's gonna hold out hope for his childhood best friend. We'll see how it goes.
When did you, officially, when did you start having doubts about your parents? Was it when, after we met them, we eventually told you about them knowing what the Midnight Sunrises means?
That was a really big gut punch for Gideon. And then because there's been no communication between them since then, it's been just left to stew. And then with more knowledge coming out, we're figuring out more about what's happening with Balesville and what Kardrak is doing. And the fact that his parents lied to Gideon basically in that moment, it's oh, they straight up lied to me. Okay. And my friends. Okay. That's bad. And then now it's Gideon, come home, and it's no, I don't think I will. Of course you want me to come back. You want me to drink the freaking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You know? I have some very big tinfoil hat things about it, but I need more evidence first before I disclose. But right now it's a big shot in the dark. You know what? Fuck it. I'll spill a little bit. So as we all know, Gideon has a mark, a celestial mark, because apparently one of his parents could potentially be a celestial. We don't know. Maybe it's like, maybe they need him for something. I don't know. Maybe his parents have something else going on that's not affiliated, or maybe it is affiliated with the cult.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
Do we think in this world, like, celestials are alumbrites?
I'd hazard a guess. If I were to guess, that'd be a link I'd draw.
Are you part alumbrite?
Maybe?
I need to know.
I could high five Malden. Yeah, it's my distant cousin. Very distant cousin.
You high five them and then I'll
1,000 times removed.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, he was looking out for me for a bit. Now he's an asshole. We don't get along.
Malden?
Yeah, Malden. Fine.
When were they ever looking out for you?
Could you imagine if that
when he
were
was
the
Armani
plot?
Kane.
Yeah. Abe was keeping Gideon safe.
Yeah, I was like, here is a guardian angel in the form of Abe, ferryman of the worthy. And Abe was like, I don't want to do it.
This guy's too much. I'm done.
Right.
I don't know. But to rewind, yeah, my tinfoil hat theory is that his parents might need him for something, due to the mark on his chest being an extension of celestial power. And that freaks me out.
Yeah. God, I'm so excited to crack the mystery of all this alumbrite stuff because I feel like they're the key to so many things.
I want Monty to make it out okay if he's not affiliated.
Yeah.
That's going to be so crucial for Gideon. You don't understand.
I have faith.
Yeah, I think
I don't believe he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah, what little lore I do have about Monty, he's just like the best friend.
Oh. Cool. So
I'm sure
cool.
that's gonna be good, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be great.
So we inform the Learned Circle once again, Madame Holon 3, about the congregation in Palesville, to which she says the Learned Circle knows.
Wasn't it a different person this time?
Yeah, don't we
You got tired of talking to
eventually
us?
This was the second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We messaged them 3 times in 2 episodes?
Yep.
Yes.
Yikes.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yikes.
When do
Yeah,
we
I
talk
think
to Hillup? Is that later?
Hillup is the next time you guys call, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, because I think
Okay,
she
that's
like
already done
straight up was
that
just
shit.
like, I'm gonna give this to Hillup. I don't want to talk to you guys anymore.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Can I just say I'm making a good impression? And she's not talking to me, but like us as a party. Anywho, love that. Cool. So then we make camp, and Abe asks Elowen to identify the urn containing the heroes' ashes that Drac won at Heroes Fest, as well as a bunch of the other magic items that we have collected. We find out that we now have a portable hole, oil of sharpness, a charm of restoration, and a bunch of artisan's tools and some money. Did anyone else think that was going to be a portable hole? Because that is not what I thought it was at all.
Nope.
No, me neither. I also think it's a miracle we didn't put that in the bag of holding.
Yep.
Oh my god, right?
Love it. What did you guys think it was going to be?
Magic
Flying carpet.
I thought it was a
Flying
flying
carpet.
carpet.
Flying
Yeah,
carpet.
actually,
Hell nah.
I know, I was like, wow.
At
Wow,
first,
Danny
when it was
would give us
described,
a-
I thought it was one of those like smothering rugs, but then when it didn't smother him, I was like, okay, I guess it's not that.
Danny would give us a deck of many things, but not a flying carpet. Come on.
Hell nah. You can wish for a magic carpet when you pull from that deck.
Oh, boy.
Fine, bring me that
Number
deck.
1 on my
Teni
list.
has traumatic experiences with flying carpets, I guess.
Probably.
Nah, I never had one in my games.
That's true.
Yeah.
They never will.
I mean, if anyone's watched season 1 of Critical Role, you know not to fuck with them.
I know from Jason, Ryan would know this as well, who was constantly on a broom of flying in Nick's campaign. So I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Flying
yeah.
is not to be taken lightly.
Flying plus Eldritch Blast is quite the combo.
Dun, dun, dun.
Everyone
Especially
is
when
an
you don't
archer.
have to concentrate on it.
I love it.
Should have been an Aarakocra.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny would definitely allow an Eric Cocker in his campaign.
They technically exist, and you've technically seen them.
Yeah, but like as a player character?
Yeah,
would
probably
you
not.
allow? Yeah, okay.
How dare you nerf my bird boy?
I'm a half Aarakocra
Quack.
with
Yeah,
the
I have-
wings.
Yeah.
What about just the good part?
Yeah.
Hey,
What
person
does
with
that
wings.
mean?
What if
Yeah,
I
I'm-
just take all the good parts from all the races?
Oh.
And I make
Well, look, I
I'm-
developed a family tree like Nell's. I'm like, no, look, my grandfather was an Aarakocra. I could have wings.
It's just
Yeah.
like little stubby things.
yeah.
Like genetic lottery.
Yeah. I make something, and I'm kind of workshopping the name here, but like a master race character.
We better move on.
We're gonna move on from this, actually.
They bought a PC. That's what that means. They're no longer a console gamer.
Oh, yes.
That's what that means.
Wonderful.
Anywho,
Good save,
the
good
Identify ritual does not really tell us anything about the ashes, but the urn itself has gentle repose cast on it. So as long as the ashes remain inside the urn, they will be preserved for the purposes of resurrection spells, which was extremely interesting to learn. Adam, when did you think to investigate the ashes using magic?
When we were talking to Philinori Plants and Drac took out the ashes and asked if the ashes were Philinori. I was like, hero ashes?
Wow, I'm really glad that my dumb question sparked something useful.
Mainly because I
This
just
whole
forgot we
thing
had
is
them.
stupid, isn't it? Wasn't this a roll on a trinket table? Like, we're really reading too much
Was
into
it
this,
though?
right?
This is Teni we're talking about. I don't think he rolls any dice. It's all predetermined.
There's a giant
no
script.
randomness at all.
Yeah,
Everything
We
is
roll
prepared.
dice and it all happens to line up with his plan.
That's right.
True Love's Not 20 was actually like he has a magnet underneath, and he has a dice he rolls if it's good, and when he rolls if he wants it to be bad. So
Picking up on your tricks, Teni.
Yeah.
we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did this information make you feel? That there's not a guarantee, but it is intriguing that this urn is so blessed.
Like many things with Abe, it's conflicting. Because, and I think after an inconclusive answer, it kind of changed his perspective of like, he is Argon folk. Argon folk, as far as they know, can't reproduce. So there are a limited number of them on the planet. If he did ever get reincarnated, then there is one less of his kind, you know, and like how much of essentially an endangered race, because nobody knows how long they're going to live. Nobody knows if they can make more or what the process of them dying is like in terms of age or whatever. Does he have a duty to his fellow Argon folk to be part of that culture and part of that people and enrich the lives of those that really, as far as I know, there's no other race that has the same experience, like the same life experience of, I used to be this person, now I'm a vessel. And I don't know, Denny, if you made them kind of the sensory deprivation style thing of like just a VR headset essentially, but I kind of did that for Abe, so you know, how much, like I said, how much is his I lost my train of thought. Does he owe the other Argon folk people anything? Or does he just try to do this thing for himself? And all that kind of other interesting philosophical questions that he ponders during his designated brooding time from 8 to 4 on every other Wednesday.
Oh my god.
Were
Eastern
the
Standard Time.
were the other Starborn also created at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes, they were all created at the same time. And
But the others can reproduce, and they have?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh dear, I had another thought to add to that. Oh yes, I'm so glad that at least one of you chose to be one of the Starborn races. It's such a fascinating thing to witness the exploration of that kind of faction of cultures.
Yeah, it is extremely cool and it continues to confuse the fuck out of me every time we talk about it because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get it. But we're one step closer to my plan that I think really will work, where we kill Abe.
Well, we can
Yeah.
put him in the urn now. We know that that's an option.
Yes.
Just stuff him in there.
Yeah.
We might have to burn you first.
Yeah. We'll figure something out.
Can you dustify
Melt
an
him
Argon folk,
down?
though?
Well. Wait. Huh.
I don't
That's
think
really
so.
dangerous if you
Because
melt
if we
him.
melt him, he's
Then
just
it's
a
Argon
liquid
plutonium.
metal.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just have to get me disintegrated.
Liquid metal with certain properties that I'm sure
Yeah,
you'll
so
all
we've
love.
actually
Yeah.
we've run into this, haven't we? We know
I
this
hear
is a
there's
bad
probably
time.
some dangerous people in Balesville. So one of them could disintegrate me.
Well, the whole thing still confuses the hell out of me because I'm like, I guess, I mean, this is probably another thing for like Abe to ponder if you so choose, but like, if those ashes are Pascalis, like there's a whole like philosophical debate about like what makes you, the body or the soul, because like if that body comes back, what happens to you if you were him? Like, do you leave and you go back in, or does someone new like pop in? It's just like,
Yeah, and is it just Pascalis in his late 30s when he was about to be burned alive by Emre? Is it just like he blinked and now he's back?
yeah, oh yeah, it's a good question. Like, did like whatever was Abe disappear? Like this whole,
Yeah, exactly.
God, I hate it. I hate it.
Well, it's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I totally get that. Oh my god. Because I feel like now I need to like go interrogate another Argon folk, just to be like one of the ones that also like had a past life that they remember, because not all of them do, but like how does that work? Like why do only some of them remember? And like are they two different people? Like it really pisses me off. So add that to my list of things to do. I don't get it. And I want answers. So
Well, the big factor is that Pascalis' ashes may be preserved.
yeah.
Not many other Argon folk would have the situation where their body is accessible.
Yeah, I guess it's less about like them being brought back and more like just because for a while there it felt like Abe was special in the fact that like you had multiple things because of like Malden, but like the fact that there are other Argon folk that also have like just themselves, or some that were like them but then also remember their past lives. So it's like in that sense, are they two souls? Or are they just like a blank slate of the original soul that then remembered? Like that's where I'm getting like hung up on. I don't understand.
Is deep.
I want to get this deep. Yeah. Cool.
I'm surprised nobody's also asked the question that like, how did Charity know who Abe was?
Yeah, that's been bothering
You
me.
heard his buttery
When?
voice.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
course.
That's the
Knew
one.
right away.
Wait, when? when
when you guys
When they
went
first-
to Charity in her tower, and Abe was like,
oh.
"Do you know who I am?" And she's like, "Here's a book."
Abe was
True
like,
sight.
hello there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, my god.
Yeah,
interesting.
she
What if
probably
she
has
has
True
like?
Sight on all the time.
But she has
Yeah.
true sight or something.
Wow. True.
Was she wearing spectacles when we walked in?
Maybe True Sight contacts?
I know. I literally was thinking that true sight contacts. I mean, she's a fucking high level wizard. Like, what makes sense?
Or maybe like we went into her space and maybe there's
Yeah.
like something
Yeah.
just magically within that.
I mean, it like
Ooh.
identified all of our magic
Yeah.
items, right? So
Yeah.
That's a
maybe
good
it's
point.
just like here's everything about them as they walk into your office.
There
It
was,
was
like
actually.
sorry.
You go
There
ahead.
was also that bit where we had to like sit in the waiting room for a bit before we walked in, and it was like we got like scanned by something, kinda. So maybe she was like, any illusions? What's going on here? Got any
Fascinating.
things going on?
Yes, very fascinating.
It's something that's a
Stop
really.
it, Teni.
Yeah. Just turned on Nick's domino for a second there.
Oh, sorry, I was
Yeah.
going Yelfarin, but
Yeah.
I see.
I guess they're not
They're
so
pretty
different.
close.
They're very different.
They're quite different, I would hope. But there was
One of
something, like,
them's the
it's-
best person we've met. Everyone's a big fan.
One of them, Dallas can
I
fix.
wish
The other
one's
one is
which.
perfect.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, it's an interesting concept to me. Like the whole, I guess, being someone who's played in a campaign and then like playing a different person in the same world in a new campaign, and then like meeting characters and people that were relevant to your old character but not to you anymore. Like, obviously, there's like kind of like a meta element to it, but it's like kind of like makes me think of that whole thing of like meeting someone in your current life that you like knew in a past life, and like having like a moment of recognition with them that you don't understand. Like, it's a really like interesting, cool thing of storytelling that's so unique to this specific way of telling stories that I just love so much. So anytime it's come up in this, I'm like, more please. It's so cool. So I'm like, what if Charity didn't know in a magical way? She just knew in like a, like she just knew like that was a soul that she had met before kind of way, you know? That's all.
And the more I think about Patience as a player, the more I get sad. Like, that was my kid.
Oh,
That was my
So
daughter.
cool.
What happened?
I'm gonna try to find her.
Yeah, we'll
We're gonna
find
find
out.
out. Don't worry.
I know, I just want to know.
Yeah, like so many things in this campaign. I just want answers.
Someone just tell
Just
me.
tell us what's going on. Anyway, before my brain explodes, while in camp, I wander off as I want to do, and Gideon comes to check up on me. And I'm kind of just talking about how I'm worried about being a coward because of the way that I left, and I'm worried about returning as a coward. And kind of comparing my own actions to what I think my mother and my sister might have done in that same situation. Gideon is very reassuring in this moment and tries to tell me that I've learned to be more of a leader, and that I run into danger, and etc. I don't want to read this question anymore, actually, Teni, because it's me talking about myself too much. Can you do it?
I don't even. There's not even a question there. This is just
I
facts.
know, it's just me talking about the conversation. It's weird. Anyways, it was a really nice conversation. And yeah, and it's also one that I really wanted to have. Like, it's hard to control sometimes in D&D if a conversation will happen the way that you imagine it will, because like everyone else is telling the story too. But this is one that I was really like, oh boy, I hope I get to talk to Ryan before I go home, because I really need to talk to him. So I was like trying to like set out my little like trail of crumbs, being like, I'm just standing off in the woods having a hard time.
Just over here.
Someone comes to us.
Well, I can tell you honestly, the only reason that conversation happened is because the conversation with Drac happened.
Oh, brutal. Thank God for that.
You're so
So-
welcome.
Because I was
Saves
also
the day
like,
again.
I was also of the mind of like, I want to continue our discussion we had in the Enclave.
Mhm.
And then I was like, we're approaching Varmhall, and I was like, is he ready for this? I don't know. And then Drac was like, listen up, Gideon. I'm gonna sit your ass down. I'm gonna talk at you for a minute. And I was like, okay, yeah, Gideon's on the right path. I think he's in a place where he can start to make the right moves here. Yeah, it's good. That
Yeah,
was a good
that makes
conversation.
sense. Yeah, I was really, really grateful because it also tied in with like to jump down a bit. Like I really had this vision of like what walking into Varmhall would look like after like the past couple of months and like how I thought that would play out. And again, like it's like I know it might not have happened in a certain way because these things are malleable, but I'm like, if it could, this is how I've been picturing it because I've just been like, and like that was my shower time experience. Just like, oh my god, I have to walk in. But it was something that was so much like now looking to Gideon in that moment because like you had to walk back into Balesville and it's like you know what it's like to return to a home that maybe like isn't the same as you left it or like that you maybe left on bad terms, and that was really stressful. So I was so glad that that all happened the way it was in my mind because it just felt very cathartic. And yeah, I think another part of the conversation too that like kind of got glossed over, we like just touched on a little bit, was the whole like thing about like talking about how like Nell might think that you're like a person who would kill people or like shoot people or something like that. I feel like we kind of touched on it briefly. I don't really want to have that conversation more because like I think last after party we talked about how Gideon's like really worried about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like I didn't want to like keep prolonging it, but I feel bad. But
Oh, don't. It's not your fault entirely.
oh, thanks. But it's like, interesting. Like I want to know
It's
kind of what's
mostly
going on.
my fault, actually. In fact, it's about 95% my fault. So.
Well, I want to know what's going on in Gideon's mind now, kind of like you've had some time to process like the concept of Armani Kane, and you've talked with Drac about everything, and then like you like had this very helpful conversation with Nell, and like you like when we went into the village, like she like asked you for kind of like reassurance before she went in. So like, is that concern still there that like maybe that's how she would think of you? I'm just curious.
I think it's fading. Wounds definitely take time to heal, but it's just it's definitely fading. Though Armani Kane is not something that is fading, but the worry that people will think of him negatively is slowly fading. Yeah, no, Armani Kane is firmly entrenched in his brain. It's like a waking nightmare. It's a thing that he is like, I don't want to be that. That is something I'm going to do my best to not be.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's such a new thing that we still don't know too much about. Because we still have to go back to Balesville and then to Edomtown.
Eldamtown.
Fucking shit. I can never say it.
It's okay.
Eldamtown, and then maybe we'll get some answers, but maybe not. They seem pretty thin on the ground.
Hey, Drake, we should message Domino.
Why?
For answers?
Like, what up, motherfucker? Where you
Hey,
at?
you find my body yet, asshole?
You ever come for my boy again, I'll cut you.
No. Maybe we
Yeah,
don't.
He'll probably
You're bringing
reply
a
to
knife
that.
to a gunfight, you silly bastard.
How about I bring my lightning breath to your face?
How about I bring
God,
my fist to your
God.
face? Got him.
Got him.
Cool. Moving on. We have the next pack name conversation between Drac and Azaria. And then you make plans to message Ria's sister, Laureleth, the next day. Teni, I know you weren't expecting that, so were you like kind of like, uh-oh?
Oh yeah, I was very much like, I've got this surprise for Logan, and then Logan's like, I'm gonna call my sister. And I'm like, okay.
I've been planning to do it for a while, and I was just like, I need a good moment. That
It was
felt like
still
a good
very
moment.
surprising.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't feel
Yeah.
like the surprise was like ruined by any means, but it was just like, oh, okay, the moment's happened a little sooner.
Yeah, when did
Yeah, I
you
was
decide?
shocked.
Oh wait, I want to finish one thing first. What was the pack name that you gave to Ria?
It was Genu Anken, which means great teacher in Draconic.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
What do you think of that, Logan?
Oh, I think it's great.
You
I was
think
like,
it encompasses Rhea in some ways.
And like their main defining trait. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that was so perfect.
Amazing.
And then bouncing back to where we were, Teni, when did you plan to have Azaria's family be in Varmhall?
It was a concept I'd been tossing around. I was like, because of the intrinsic like connection between this specific location, I was like, I feel like I want to get Logan more involved. And it was a balance of trying to figure out like, how do we, when we get to Varmhall, allow you to have your, you know, we're going back here to fix your big problem. But it was like, I want to tie Logan in somehow without detracting too much from the resolution of what's been bugging you for this entire campaign so far. It was like, you know what? I'm just going to put them there. They're going to be there. It's going to be, whatever happens, happens. And it's kind of the same mentality of like how I've begun to design encounters. It's like, I got to stop caring as much. Just let it happen. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Definitely caught me off guard too, because I was like, what's going on?
Well, yeah, and then also there was that element of like, you know, nobody is expecting this.
Yeah, you got me. Logan, to your knowledge, Azaria's family has been in the Wilder, so how surprised were you to learn that they were in Varmhall, and did you think that you were ever going to encounter your family during this campaign?
I was super surprised, and no, I did not expect to encounter my family. And this was like, Teni and I were at a party recently, and I was like, yeah, I wrote my like siblings as just to flesh out like, oh, my character has a history and stuff. But I was like, I like, there was very just like enough to be like, these are people in my person's life that I had fleshed out and given to Teni. So I was like, yeah, they're just like there, so I know that I had a past and stuff. I'll never see them and stuff. And then it's like, here they are, and I was like, oh shit. Oh, they're real people now.
Oh my god, so funny. Which is crazy. Like, we'll get into more like next episode, but with like everything that happened with like your family in the next episode, the fact that you were like, we won't see them, like it won't come up. It's like, okay.
I will say, like, I did, when Teni and I talked creating my characters, I did think there was a chance, like, at that point. But then I felt the way that the campaign was kind of going, I was like, it just seems so back there that I'm like, I'm sure this is, like, something that might come up in, like, the epilogue after this or something. Like, oh, Rhea goes back to her family, and of course, her dad will be dead when they show up, and...
Right.
But, no.
No.
You gotta deal with that in person.
You think you get away with it that easily?
Yeah. In this campaign? Cool. So as we travel towards Varmhall and the Saffronis Forest, you share kind of a detail about like things that you remember growing up there, which is like the apple trees and stuff, which I loved. It was very cool to like have you like contribute to certain things like that.
Yeah, I want to say something on this one. This was one of those things where I was like, I want Logan to help world build this a little. So that was kind of what spawned me asking you like, what was your favorite thing about growing up in this forest? And what a beautiful answer too.
Did you
thanks.
know that, or did you come up with that on the fly?
So I came up with it on the fly, but I like the one thing that was in my notes, like was like the person who I used to love and stuff. Like one of the things, one of the few moments of like softness, I would say, where they like let their guard down was like picking apples at night and stuff away from like the town. So I was like, oh, it's the apple trees.
Oh.
Even
Yes,
my cat's
cat.
being emotional.
Like,
She's like, so
wow.
sad. Meow.
Wow.
I agree, Penelope. So yeah, during this conversation, you mentioned that like your family is in Varmhall, and that I then tell you that like I think that Varmhall is located where your grove used to be, which is crazy that like we didn't really. It's one of those things that's kind of where theater of the mind gets a little like screwy because we hadn't really had that conversation before, but we also hadn't fully established it before either. Like until me and Denny did like our like true like world building document of this, we kind of like came up with that. Or were you always planning that, Denny?
In my head it was a bit of a miscommunication on my part, honestly. Like when Logan and I were developing where his grove was and whatnot, like in my head this had always been the case. And unfortunately that was lost in translation to Logan, which in a way, though unfortunate in miscommunication being miscommunication, it kind of gave another reveal. So I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad it played the way out it did, but you know, it's not always great to have like a certain, like, I was thinking it was this, but okay, sure.
Yeah. It was really interesting how it played out. Like it is just one of those things that where everyone is like a different concept in their head, because until we had our conversation I was kind of like, oh, I haven't really talked about this, like maybe like I have that glade that I go to, like maybe the tree that's there is like was or something, but who knows. But yeah, I just thought that was so interesting, and then we do get into a bit more in the next episode, so we can talk about the whole my town on top of your town thing then if you want. But yeah, with that, we enter Varmhall, which I was so fucking convinced, like, and Dallis was too, and so was Jonimus, I think, that like we weren't gonna, like, I thought you were gonna fucking call the episode, and I was just like, I thought, because in my mind I'm like, no, like me and Denny are so on the same page that we're at least gonna like we're gonna do some Varmhall stuff. Like I've been like out of it this entire episode thinking that we're gonna get there today, and I'm so stressed out. And then I just like felt you were getting into that kind of like rhythm of like, and that's where we'll call it. I'm like, oh, don't do it. Like there's a part if you watch back where like we're talking about like the like road into Varmhall, and I'm just sitting there like this because I was so convinced.
I know exactly what you're talking about because I was thinking the same thing.
I'm so stressed. So, which was good because it just heightened like how I was feeling stressed as Nell too in that moment. Anyway, so yeah, we get to Varmhall. It was really exciting, and then Finn and my Aunt Narwin were there, and we all meet up, and they help escort me up to the longhouse, where all the shit was. Did anyone have any first impressions of my town?
It's very cute.
Very quaint.
I like the story poles out front. With all like the various new families carving in their own footprints. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a really cool like thing that we came up with, because I was talking about like, oh, the gates or something around Varmhall, and you were like, would there be gates? Like that seems like counterintuitive. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I saved this for the very end for us to talk about the Varmhall building, Denny, so we can do that at the very like end of this whole thing, just because there was a lot. So, but yeah, found out that they had fucking boarded up the doors of the longhouse, which I hated hearing that, because like, I guess it makes sense, but it just made me feel so sad. And yeah, they didn't want to experience like day and night. And then we decided just to fucking do it, which I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know if I like was really thinking like, I guess I'll just show up and immediately like do this thing. But I was like, I guess it makes sense. I'm so stressed out though. But yeah, everyone buffs the hell out of me, which still makes me cry if I watch back. It was really, really nice. And so there's family.
So you had a moment during this when you were reading the spell scroll, and when you looked at Elwyn and you were like, Elwyn, how do I do it? Truly broke my heart. I thought about that for days afterwards. I kept thinking back to that moment.
Me too. Like,
oh no.
Like reviewing the footage and just Christy be like, how do I do this? I was like, ah.
It's funny because it's one of those things later I was thinking about like, cast spell scrolls because we did it in that fucking magic contest. And I was like, oh well.
But no, under such huge pressure, it's like everything is gone. I don't know how to do anything. It's like it totally made sense to me.
Yeah, Christy, I've been on the phone with the Screen Actors Guild, and I'm still waiting to get a response back. But I know I shouted out Anthony in the recap, but there was definitely a slot there for you as well. But it was just because Anthony
hold on 2
surprised
different phones for 8 days at least.
I've just been on the phone a lot recently.
Well, thank you. I haven't actually watched back that scene because I'm like, I just don't want to know about it. I'm like too stressed out. But yeah, it was really nice. So I read the scroll and then rolled for it, which was really intense. It was one of those things, like I was so like in the moment of just like, oh my god, this thing is happening, that I couldn't see anyone else. I was just like laser focused. But like I think I saw in the periphery that like I rolled well, and I was just like, yeah.
The collective sigh of relief was wild.
Honestly, like going back and watching that scene, there is literally somebody's just like, oh.
Like I think you can watch all of us just be like, oh thank god.
Oh my god, it was so nice. Also, god damn it, Teni, the fucking narration you did was so beautiful of that moment, like the golden light and the chains and the keys. Like I mentioned it off camera before, but I'm like, I need art of that moment because I can see it so perfectly. It's like so cinematic and beautiful in my mind. And just felt like such a nice like summation. Go ahead.
With how significant this scene was, I'd put a lot of thought into what the visual of it would be. So yeah, I was ready in that regard. I was like, all right, this is the image I have in my head. Let's go. Provided that, of course, it succeeded, which it did.
Yeah. Did you have it written out what would happen if it didn't?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing at all?
The paper would dissolve.
God. Oh, that's so sad. I don't like that.
But
we don't have to worry about it now.
No, let's think about it though. Because I think we would have assumed that dispel magic wouldn't work, right? Is that what we would have assumed?
Assume that
what would we have done?
Anyone else's dispel magic wouldn't have worked. It would have had to be her to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we kind of figured out. So.
But if she tried and it didn't work, would we assume that that also didn't work? That there was something else we needed to do? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely on my mind because I didn't know how it was going to play out. Like, so I think my thinking is like, I didn't actually really think a whole lot about if it would succeed, because I'm like, if it does, then I'll get to that when I get to it. But I'm like, okay, what would my next steps be if it doesn't? So I was thinking like, well, I guess I would push for us to go to the Wilder, like not right away, but like I would try and like get that to be bumped up in our order of operations because I would really want some answers there. I also was wondering like if there was a chance that I could only bring back like one person. I had played that scene out in my mind multiple times of like who I would pick, which would have been my father, because I would have needed answers from him, seeing that he might have been this, and he ultimately was this connection to Reynard. But it would have been like one of those things where like I apologized to like Runa and be like, sorry, you got to stay frozen for a bit longer, and then grab my dad. But yeah.
Well, I've got questions for you, Christy. So when you guys did your studying in the library of Valenbridge so long ago, I planted the seed of this concept that like certain spell effects just sometimes have to be dispelled by the caster. And with how easy of a concept that seemed, did you still have doubts that the spell would work while you were in the midst of casting it? Like, regardless of how high you rolled. Like, did you think I was just going to be like, nah, this is not the answer?
In the midst of casting it, no. Like, leading up to it, I was still a little, like, uncertain. Because it did almost feel too easy. Or I was like, because when I learned that in Valenbridge, like, I think I mentioned to Anthony, I'm like, seems a little, like, straightforward. It's not gonna be that simple, right? But when I was casting it, I think you had mentioned what the DC was before I rolled.
Mhm.
And so I felt like pretty like, okay, like, I guess, I don't know, like I felt like it was just happening. So I was like, yeah, I guess it worked.
Well,
This is one of
to
those-
kind of put your
yeah.
ease away, I'd have told you the DC in theory, regardless of whether it was going to work or not. It'd been like, the
gross.
DC's 13, if this were the answer.
Fascinating. Okay, well, I don't like that at all.
But it was the answer, so.
Okay, great. Love
Um,
that.
And a follow-up question on what are your thoughts on the solution to the situation seemingly be so simple that most of the hurdle to overcome was actually your own Nell's more directly own insecurity.
It's really interesting to me because I have a question for you. Because like, was it always in your mind the plan that it would just be that simple about like dispel magic?
Absolutely.
Fascinating. Because I'm trying to remember, because like when we started kind of planning that we were going to be going to Varmhall, like I started fleshing out stuff more, and then I think like playing into like the root of Nell's insecurities more, like, and what that all meant. But I'm trying to think of like how much like of that like I had already telegraphed to you like in our like pre-campaign things, you know, like how much I'd already mentioned of that. Like, does that make sense? Like I felt like I had talked more about it like in recent times of like how like insecure Nell was, because I was trying to flesh it out further. But like, did I talk about it a lot already beforehand? Like,
No, this was actually originally like I had the concept of she needs to cast Dispel Magic. And I was like, what level would that happen? And it was roughly this level. I was like, okay, she'll have third level spells by the time of about 9 to 10. I was like, great, that seems like a great time in the campaign for this solution to be solved. It wasn't initially tied to your insecurity, but when you discovered that answer in Valenbridge, I'm like, here it is. It's a beautiful thing that you have created for yourself. And then you had to go to Brilbar to get your kick out the door by a grand wizard.
yeah, fuck, that's so good. God damn it. The storytelling is so fun and cool because it's just like thinking about how this all played out still, like it's just so fun. Like that conversation with Charity, like where you kicked my ass with words, like still I think about it all the time where it's like you have to like, oh fuck, I need to like write that line down somewhere. I can see it all the time where it's like you need to go do battle with yourself or something, whatever it was.
Yeah, you need to fight on the battlefield that is yourself.
Yeah, I was like, God
Something
damn
like that.
it. Hate it.
I've been on the receiving end of Teni kicking my ass with words several times.
Yeah. It was just a lot.
Yeah, patience. Don't even get me started.
But yeah, it was such like a fascinating thing too that we ended the episode there, because then everyone else just like, wow, like what a load off, like what a relief. And I'm like, not for me. Like I was so glad we were playing within a week, because like I was like, okay, yeah, like that part is done. But the thing I think Nell was dreading the most was like having to own up to her actions by talking to everyone. And so like then I was just stressed the whole week after, like similar to how like Dallis has had to deal with this, where it's like, oh, I know we're starting off with a really intense conversation. I'm nervous as hell. So, oh man. Yeah, I don't know. It was so good. I'm so happy.
Yeah, well, and that was pretty much everything from that session, eh?
It sure was.
It was a very dense session.
Yeah. I feel like both of them kind of back to back were like two really dense role play sessions, and now we're all like itching to go have a fight with somebody.
Oh yeah, right. It was at the end of this episode too that you guys got to level 9.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's true. Yeah, because then I was just like, well, how doth I level up? But we can talk about that when we discuss the next episode, which I'm actually going to call for a break first.
Yes.
So I can use the action. So we'll be back in 5 minutes to discuss episode 37, which is Love Unending, and we will see you very soon.